Evaluate to motivate. Let's look at what we're going to cover today. The top takeaways. What are the benefits of evaluation to the evaluator, to the speaker, and to the club? Because there's benefits to everyone. The learning, or the benefit, the feedback mindset, which is what we're going to go into some considerable detail, and the 7-step process of preparing and delivering a good evaluation. And lastly, Freddie's feedback formula. We like triads and we like alliterations. That covers both of those, doesn't it? Right, learning outcomes. Come on. Oh, lastly, practice. We're going to have, hopefully, do the speech again, and we'll do practice evaluations. Right, so the top takeaways. You've probably heard this before. I hope you have. Content, structure, and delivery. Surprisingly, this applies to every speech that you give, not just the prepared speeches. It applies to table topics, it applies to evaluations, it applies to any form of speech that you ever give. Right, what are the benefits of evaluations to the evaluator? I am now in listening mode. So, suggestions, what are the benefits to the evaluator?
Listening, concentration. You mean for the evaluation?
For the evaluator, yeah.
Because you have to focus and listen.
Listening.
Yeah.
Listening skills.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, that's number 1 on the list. Okay, anything else? Come on. What else is it? You have very little preparation time, don't you? So, what's that?
Impromptu speech.
Exactly, impromptu speaking. That's okay. No, but come on, you're going to have to do all the work. I'm not here to do the work. You're here to do the work. Except you. But join in, please.
You're getting to actually benefit from other people's delivery style, content, and this and that. It's something that over time that you can absorb the good points into your own.
Absolutely, absolutely. But in order to give an evaluation, what do you have to do, apart from listening?
We have to critically analyse. We have to analyse what you're listening to.
You have to collate the information. And this is not necessarily in a particular order, but obviously you're listening to the speech, you're writing things down, and you have to organise that into a proper sequence. So you have to collate that information together. Your feedback has to be balanced. What does that mean? It means that you're giving the good and the what can be better. Yeah? Anything else? Come on. I think, well, Robert, what you said is sort of covering the next one, is motivational skills. You're learning how to motivate.
Well, I was basically going in mind was that you're actually improving, because as you're absorbing other information, delivery styles, you're actually improving your own style.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. And the last one here is very much something that I bang on about, is stage time, stage time, stage time. Every time you get up and speak, you're improving, even if it's only incremental and very little. But if you do it 100 times, 200 times, 300 times, you are going to get better. It just happens generically, you can't help it. So take every opportunity of standing up and speaking, and evaluations is one of those opportunities. Okay, what are the evaluation benefits to the speaker?
Positive feedback.
Yep.
Feedback overall. Positive and negative.
Yeah, but more than that.
I suppose the positive feedback will give the speaker the confidence, that obviously that they need because they're a member of Toastmasters and will help to improve future speakers.
Okay. Motivation, that's the top one. The idea is you're going to try to lift that person up, make him feel good, and make him feel that he wasn't the rubbish that he might actually have been. But there was something good there, and you're going to find those good things, and you're going to give him a few things to where he can get better. And you're going to help his confidence. Right? You're also going to validate what that person has done or said. Because no matter how bad a speaker you are, when you get up and speak, and you give your speech, that's something that person has taken the time and the trouble and the effort to prepare. And so in his mind or her mind, that's important. Right? So we're validating the fact that, yeah, you have done something good. Right, what else? Think of. All right, I'll prompt you. Concrete tips. How many times have you heard an evaluation where it says, that was a lovely speech, I really enjoyed it. He told us about this, he told us about that, and he told us about the other, and it was super, wasn't it? Well, what good is that to the speaker? Absolute nada, nothing. Now, there's no problem in saying, yeah, I enjoyed the speech, but why did you enjoy the speech? Well, I enjoyed the speech because he told us a lot of facts, for example. Right? Or I enjoyed the language that he used, or the delivery, or how he spoke, his body language. That's why we enjoyed the speech. Right, what else? There is one very important thing which is not on the screen yet. We're going to give them...
Maybe mannerisms?
Well, we're going to... Yeah, that's part of it, but we're going to give them ideas for how they can be better. Not how bad they did, or you did that wrong, but if you did this, it would be so much better.
And constructive criticism? Is that what you mean?
Constructive criticism, exactly that. Okay, what are the benefits to the club?
Does everyone learn through feedback?
Everybody learns. What else?
Members get better and they go on to competitions.
Yeah, that'll come up on the list, I'm sure. Next one on the list is it's a relaxed environment, hopefully. If it's not, then there's something wrong in your club. It's a shared experience. Everybody is sharing in that evaluation. When you give an evaluation, you're not talking to that speaker. You're talking to everybody in the room, because everybody in the room is going to learn. And basically, you don't have to make the same mistakes. Yeah, you can avoid them. A very important thing from the club's point of view is that good evaluations are going to raise the standard in the club. And lastly, I just put new members on the screen, but what we're talking about here is this. If somebody comes in as a guest and they're sitting at the back and they're all cowering down because they don't want to be picked on to talk, and they hear an evaluation which is bad, what's that guest going to think about coming back? They ain't going to come back. Conversely, if they see a good evaluation, they see the speaker nodding at everything the evaluator says, then that's hopefully going to encourage them to come back because they won't feel threatened. Okay, it's a little exercise here. If this works, what's gone wrong? I switched it off. I fiddle. I'm a fiddler. Come on, that's it. Right. 1 times 1 equals... Come on. Okay. 2 times 2 equals? 3 times 3 is?
9.
4 times 4 is? 5 times 5 is?
5.
Oops. Right. What do you think?
Well, that's the wrong answer.
Yeah, I saw making a horrible face there. It's a natural thing for us to leap upon the mistake. I say, oh, she got it wrong! She got it wrong! Isn't that terrible? But actually, think about it. That's right, that's right, that's right, that's right. 4 out of 5, that's 80%. That's 80% right. It may be 20% wrong, but let's face it, 80% right is going to get you a pass mark in pretty well any exam anywhere in the world. So let's not concentrate on the things that were not so good. Let's concentrate on the things that were good. Find the good in the speech. Okay. The feedback mindset, and we'll go through this fairly quickly. First of all, be specific. We covered that a little bit earlier. Be positive. Be constructive. Does all make sense so far? Be believable and honest. Encouraging, motivating. What else? Balanced. That's quite important. You don't want to spend too much time, as I tend to do in my evaluations, far too much time on the things you could do better and not nearly enough time on the things that you did well. Relevant. Don't go off in tangents. Sympathetic. Timely. Give examples. Don't just say, you could have done that better. Say, you could have done that better if you did it like this. I like to demonstrate physically. One of my pet peeves is people wandering around the stage as they talk, as most of us do at one time or another, as opposed to planting those feet and staying still, unless there is a reason to make a movement. That's just one thing. So you can physically show examples. And give solutions. Don't just say, you could do that better. Show them how they can do it better. Okay, the evaluation process. Now, we've got 7 steps to do. I won't read them out. You can see them yourself. The first thing is speak to the speaker. Find out what their personal objectives are. Everybody has personal quirks. Mine is fiddling with things, usually my belt if I'm wearing one. Exceedingly irritating. I'm not aware of it half the time. I just switched this off purely and simply because I was fiddling with it. These little things. I know what mine are. I always ask my evaluator, keep a lookout for them, and hopefully I get feedback from them. Personal quirks. For example, my stupid movements. Make a little checklist of things that you want to look out for. Most important, research the project. Know what the speech is supposed to be about. If it's in the old system, read the manual. If it's in pathways, you can find out for any path what the project is all about. There is a huge amount of information on the internet. You don't have to be in pathways to find out that information. So read the manual / look at pathways. Check the project's objectives. There is always an objective for the speech. You need to know what those objectives are because basically that's what you're going to be evaluating against. Okay? Check the evaluation guide, or in pathways terms, the evaluation template that they give. There is an evaluation sheet for pretty well every speech, and if there isn't a specific one for the speech, then there's a generic one. But read through that, find out what the specific things that they are looking for with the project are. Okay, evaluation process during the meeting. First thing, of course, is to analyze. And this goes back to our content, structure, and delivery. But there's a third thing as well, and that's you, the audience. So don't just concentrate only on content, structure, and delivery. Watch the audience, see how the audience are reacting to the speech. That gives you a good idea of how well the speaker has managed to engage the audience. What's the purpose of the speech? Are they achieving that purpose? Are they getting there? And then you have to prioritize. Now, I'm going to hand out one of these. Now, there's 2 sheets of paper here for each. So if you pass them around, take 2. There's
2 different ones?
yeah, there are 2 different ones. Yeah. Okay. This we call the T-chart. Basically, it's just draw a line down the middle and a line across the top. Split it up into 4 sections: content, structure, delivery, and audience, and then use it to make your notes. On the left-hand side of the page, put in the things that you like, and on the right-hand side of the page, put in things that you think that they can do better. Right, you've then got to write your speech. And you have very little time usually to do this. Maybe a tea break and maybe table topics. 10, 15 minutes maybe to write your speech. If it's in a contest, you only have 5 minutes to write your speech. It's very, very little time. So being organized with a sheet like this makes a huge amount of difference. When I go into an evaluation contest, as soon as I get my bit of paper, I draw my T-chart and I actually write it out like that so that I've got the structure there already down on paper. So, the structure of your speech is to have an opening, a greeting, Bandon Toastmaster, Mr. Toastmaster, whatever, fellow Toastmasters, and especially your speaker. And then we want a maximum of 5 points. 3 commendations and 2 recommendations. Why only 3 commendations and 2 recommendations? Because in a 3-minute speech, A, that's as much as you can cover in that time, and B, it's as much as the speaker can absorb in that time. If you go into, well, this was good, and that 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 was good, by the time you got to the end of the list, he's forgotten what you said at the beginning. Robert?
The 3 commendations, 2 recommendations strikes me as being very reminiscent of the kind of 5 bullets on the PowerPoint slide. There's a kind of a similar dynamic in timing, which you can say, and how much you can say. Is that a fair point?
It is a fair point, yeah. Yeah, I've never thought of it that way, but that's actually very valid. Lastly, a conclusion. If you go into a contest and you don't give a summary or a conclusion, you're immediately throwing away 15 points. Something to bear in mind if you ever go into a contest. But it's also good from the point of view of reinforcing what you've said. And the conclusion, the summary, should be literally just a rehash in 1 or 2 words of each of the 5 things that you've gone. Starting with the 2 recommendations that you gave, and finishing with the 3 commendations. And commendation A, which is your best, you always leave to last. The result of that is that the speaker goes away, hopefully, on cloud 9. Because what you remember most, you remember the last thing that was said. And lastly, timing. You have 3 minutes with 30 seconds at the end, grace period. That's all the time you have. It's not essential, but it is very good practice to stick to that 3-minute time and get used to, in your head, the 3-minute time and how much you can actually cover in that time. Okay, so this is Freddie's feedback formula. Now, Freddie is a DTM, an English DTM, Freddie Daniels, and we owe the majority of the content of this workshop to Freddie. He came over to Blarney in 2014 and he gave a version of this workshop. I have to say this is not the workshop that he gave, but it's covering the same ground. And this is his feedback formula. It's not prescriptive. You don't have to, there's two there I think. You don't have to follow it to the letter, but if you do follow it to the letter, you are going to give an effective evaluation. So what's the first thing? Opening, grab attention. Find something in the speech that you can quote. Now, I didn't hear your speech, so when we come to hear it again, I will be making notes as well, and we'll certainly find something. But there's always a really nice, good little snippet that you can grab from the speech. And what does that do? It gets the audience's attention back to what the content of the speech was. So you're refreshing the audience's memory. Okay. Then your greeting, your Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests, and especially the speaker. And then you have you'll notice the top line, B, C, D, E, A. A is your best commendation, B and C are other two commendations, D and E are your two recommendations. If your commendations give what was good, why it was good, and, if possible, when it was used within the speech. Now, I think the when is probably less important, but depending upon what the commendation is. The most important bit to me is why. Why is it good? Why is it good to use triads, for example? Anybody tell me? What's the Parrot 3? What is the Parrot 3? It's something psychological. It switches something on in our brain. We like to hear it. We like to hear alliteration. It stimulates the, what is it from your, do you remember your speech? Yeah. Yeah, that's it, yeah. It does things in your brain. We can't help it, it's automatic. So that's what you do. If somebody is using good language, is using rhetorical devices, then explain why, when they use it, why it's good. And you'll get them on your side. Oh, sorry, I didn't want to go back. We haven't quite finished, because we have one more very important thing. Sorry, Freddie, come on. Come back, please. There we go. When you get into the recommendations, there is an extra line there. Is what, why, when, and how. And the how is the important bit there, along with the why. Why is it going to be better if you do this? And how are you going to do it? So you give an example. You demonstrate it orally, or you demonstrate it physically. If it's body language, you demonstrate the body language, whatever it happens to be. We are much more visual people than we are oral people. We remember things that we see a lot better and a lot more than the things that I'm saying. Okay, so then you're going to deliver your speech. So you're putting yourself in the position of the speaker, and you use positive language, like, if you did this, the speech might have been much better, rather than you didn't do, or you should have, or you failed to do. Okay. So be specific. Commend. What, when, why. Recommend. What, why, when, and how. And then lastly, summarize your key points. Give your recommendation, and then your 3 commendations, and always ending with, what I really loved about this speech was that. And then your speaker goes away and hopefully is happy. But also try to connect your opening statement. Your opening statement was the grab that you took from the speech. If you can connect back to that, then you've done a full circle. Encourage your listeners to apply what they have heard and learned. And this is to try to bring in the whole group rather than just talking to the speaker. And lastly, fill out the evaluation sheet. If you complete the evaluation front page from the T-chart, that's the other sheet of paper you have there, that is the format of your speech. Now, once you get experience in doing this, then all you need to do is just put bullet points in each one. But in the early days, when you're getting used to evaluations, actually write it out in full. Write out what you're going to say in each of the 5 segments. You'll find it very much easier to give a good evaluation if you have written it all out. Once you get experience, the bullet points are enough, and you know you can talk around the bullet points. Always be specific, with specific feedback and specific recommendations. And fill out the 1 to 5s and be honest. That's for the pathways evaluation sheets. And lastly, give 1-to-1 feedback. Buy the speaker a drink. You've probably put a lot more notes on your T-chart than you've actually been able to put into the evaluation speech, because you've only got your 3 minutes. So go over the things that you didn't have time to cover in the speech. Because if you've written it down, then presumably there's a good reason for it. And your speaker deserves to know it. Get their feedback on your evaluation. That's always positive, isn't it? Not only are you going to get feedback from the general evaluator, who may be very kind or may be direct, but your speaker is the one who's most important. If your speaker found your evaluation good, then let's hear it from him or her. To wrap it up, what are the top takeaways? It's the benefits of the evaluation to the evaluator, to the speaker, and to the club. The feedback mindset, the 7-step process, which we've just been through, and Freddie's feedback formula. So that's it. Thanks for listening. That's all, a few bits about me. I'm a member of 3 clubs, and I co-present the Talk Show for Talkers on irishtalkers.com, and there's a few websites and things there as well. If there's one thing that you take away from today, it's the word why. Why is it good? Or why is it not so good? And how is a secondary, but equally important. Okay. So did you enjoy it, everybody?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. Thank you.